When they asked me to introduce the Kiss reunion, I had two questions. What time and what aircraft carrier?
Monster sounds like Kiss trying to write a Kiss album.
I think I'm still really disappointed at what happened at the final show at Madison Square Garden.
I got to meet Bill Aucoin a year before he died.
I still think it's shocking. I mean, unfucking believable that Kiss were able to hide their identity for the entirety of the 70s and into the 80s until they released Lick It Up.
All the opening acts they had in the 70s and 80s, I'm blown away.
But then they reunite, they put the makeup back on, and sell out Tiger Stadium in, get this, 43 fucking minutes.
And I think that Revenge was the last great Kiss album.
Sometimes I'm really convinced that Peter is like the biggest fucking idiot in rock and roll.
We did a ranking of the non-makeup albums. It was our number one.
I know I watched it. Obviously, you didn't watch mine, so fuck you.
Yeah, I did. I just thought you were copying.
I got a bunny feeling singing
Even before I ever did this channel, people would just always talk about, yeah, he's a music freak. And I'm like, yep, you know what? I am. And I found out May 27th, 1990 at my first Kiss concert.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. Holy shit. Look at these strangers that I got. Stranger danger here because we are going to be talking Kiss, and I got Nate Danger from Rockin' Danger, and then my buddy Rick, who has been friends with me on Facebook for a long time. So it's Kiss time. Let's welcome our mini threesome, if you will. And Nate Danger from Rockin' Danger, welcome for your first time to the show.
Man, I am super pumped to be here. Super excited. You know, Kiss is one of my favorite bands.
Yes.
And your channel, I gotta say right off the hop, your channel is the reason that we even have a channel. So for anyone who doesn't know, we've got a channel called Rockin' Danger. Scotty Rock, myself, Nate Danger. And we talk about this fantastic genre of music, but it was all inspired by me sitting there Sunday mornings watching the Hair Metal Guru, drinking my coffee, and
He was probably thinking, if this douchebag can do it, I can probably do it way better. That's what I think he was thinking.
I just said, like, this is such great material that I wanted to do something. So thank you very much for, first off, inspiring us to create our own channel, because so many people appreciate you talking about the music that we absolutely love.
I thank you, and I love what you guys are doing. I'm gonna put the link for Rockin' Danger in the description. You two are hilarious, and you know, one day I've told the story about Metal Mike from the 80s Glam Metal Cast. I was watching his shit, and I was like,
Yes.
maybe I can do this. So I really appreciate you saying that, and good to have you on, Rick, who, and we've been chatting on Facebook, and Rick is obviously, look at that fucker. He's obviously been in bands his whole life. So Rick is up in Toronto, Canada. Both of you guys are from Canada.
Yes, sir.
It's a big Canadian love fest here. So Rick, welcome to
Some
the show.
Canadian bacon happening.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
You got it, man. So my name's Rick Thomas, residing in Toronto for the last 12, 13 years, I guess. Originally from Ottawa, Ontario. And honestly, man, when I was a really, really, really young kid, I remember being at my grandparents' place around Christmas time, and I had this older cousin that was there, you know, family Christmas, and cousin Dave, because he was 14 years old, he was cool, and he wore like Kiss shirts and everything. So he starts asking my grandfather if he can watch something on TV amongst his Christmas party. He agrees. He's watching this interview with these four guys in makeup, and then I see this crazy shit on stage, dry ice, girls in the front row just going nuts and everything. It was just blowing me away. And then all of a sudden, my grandfather comes over and goes, "No devil music on my TV," and shuts it off. My cousin turns up to him and says, "I hate you, Gramps," and runs out the door. Like, I guess he lived about 6 blocks away. He was trying to get to the rest of the interview. All I know is that being at that age and just realizing that these four guys made that big of an impact, that changed my life forever. So ever since then, it was I want to be a musician, I want to be in a band from grade 1 all the way through. It took over a decade, but landed 2 record deals, Canadian and American one. And the American one, we were signed by Tom Zutaut, who, as you know, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. So that was my dream come true there as well. So yeah, that's what got me started, and I've never really stopped. So
Okay. Obviously. Fuck, look at that guy. Hey, do you guys take offense when people talk about Canada becoming the 51st state, or is that like
No, I don't care.
okay, we're just fucking with you anyway.
If I don't need a passport to get to Disneyland, it makes it a little easier.
Right. Okay, so hey, it's a blast having you guys on. Thank you for coming on. We are talking Kiss, and we are talking 10 things I think about Kiss. So this is the latest in that series, and I think we're gonna go this route. I think we're gonna go Nate, Rick, myself, and I know both of you are such massive Kiss fans, as am I. I'm dying to hear what you guys came up with. Nate, what is your number 10 thing you think about Kiss?
Well, I first off have to say the one of the most number one things to my heart is I think that Paul Stanley is the greatest rock star slash frontman ever in history. There is no one that should be in a dictionary when the word rock star comes up other than Paul Stanley's face. He is absolutely, I think, everything that Kiss is.
Yeah. I completely agree, and you know, you listen to those early Kiss a lot. Now, I'll say this. The older I get, the more I'm like, damn, Paul, some of your stage raps got a little cheesy at times.
Oh, they
When I was
did.
younger, listening to the Kiss Alive albums, I'm like, holy fuck, that guy has these people in the palm of his hands. He commanded a crowd like nobody. So I think you're exactly right. Paul is the definition of a front man, and then maybe later refined by guys like David Lee Roth.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like so many people emulated or copied what Paul was doing.
Yep, totally.
I got to see Kiss in 1979, August 79 for the Dynasty Tour. Now, the years as a fan leading up to that show in Montreal, Gene was my everything. The reason I breathed every day. Gene Simmons was my God. After seeing that concert and seeing them live, I can't deny it. My heart goes to Paul. He just destroyed. They were all amazing that night, even Ace, but Paul destroyed. And that from that moment on, I realized he really is, like you said, Kiss.
Isn't it ironic over the years that like Gene is known as such a business mogul and you know, so well spoken, but he never talks during Kiss concerts.
Yes.
It's kind of strange.
Well, you gotta, if the whole persona is you're going there to see the demon,
Right.
then the way I'm looking at it, because no matter what they do, it's the pinnacle that he has to do the fire, he has to do the blood for God of Thunder. These are all these things that he has to stay in that character. So I'm just saying, if I was a kid, it's like Gene's like just coming around and, hey man, does everyone want to have a party after backstage? Hey, come and join us. I mean, I don't think it would fly. I see Ace doing that, Peter, the rest of them, but not Gene. He has to stay in that persona on stage.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Okay, let's move on to Rick's number 10. What do you got?
Okay. My 10, I think about Kiss is for the album Unmasked. I have a bit of an issue, and it has always been that way for me. Why the fuck did you not use Is That You as the single instead of Shandy? It'll always just destroy me. It's like the album did, it could have done so much better if they had done, because they did a video for Shandy. Take that money and put it into Is That You? That song was like Lick It Up before Lick It Up came out. Yeah. So that's my 10 thing, I think. Unmasked, they should have had Is That You as the single, not Shandy.
I told Metal Mike fucking loves Shandy. I'm like, that's one of the worst Kiss songs I've ever fucking heard. There were definitely, but I mean, it was massive in Australia for some reason. So I agree.
Hey, I dig Shandy, but there's no doubt that Is That You is probably the biggest banger on that album. It's a great song.
Paul, the way Paul's vocals on that song, I mean, he didn't phone it in on that, man. On the rest of the stuff, I felt it, but that song, it just, yeah. And then there's a really, you can get on YouTube and watch them doing it live, actually in Australia.
Oh, it's
he knocks
awesome.
it apart. Yeah.
I'll say this, one of the things that didn't make my list was I was gonna say I think it was how fucking dumb was it that they wasted the title Unmasked on an album where they didn't unmask. And the Unmasked album was called Lick It Up. I mean, that's so ironic. Anyway, okay. My number 10. Okay. I think I'm still really disappointed at what happened at the final show at Madison Square Garden. I mean,
Yeah.
not even were there no past members invited up on stage, which I get. Maybe they wanted money or shit, but they didn't even mention Ace or Peter and anyone else. It was just like another show on the tour. So I think it was
Yeah.
a wasted opportunity, and it would have made them look so much better. Number one, it would have made them look cool to have those guys there, even if they didn't play. Come out, Bruce Kulick. You did so much time with the band. Eric, or well, obviously Eric Singer was there. Ace and Peter, and even if you didn't do that, each of Paul and Gene should have taken a minute and
Yeah.
expressed their gratitude for those guys. None of that
Even if you
happened.
wanted to, yeah.
It was just
Even if you wanted to have a
wasted opportunity.
montage on one of the video screens, like leave the stage for 5 minutes and just have even a montage, or like what they've been doing for Vinny and Paul for Pantera recently. Just do a little montage, anything. I mean, my God, without these two guys, I couldn't agree with you more. And yes, it would have made them just so much better in the limelight.
It would have made them look amazing, and instead they looked kind of petty and like you're not even gonna fucking acknowledge them. It didn't make them look good.
You're right. It just felt like another show from that tour.
Yep.
So
I think the worst guy that I feel for is Bruce. Like Bruce is such a great human being. If you watch any of his interviews and stuff, and he was such a longevity part of Kiss.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's
I agree.
really tall. He's really tall in person. Like he's like 6'4".
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree. All right. Yeah. Number 9. We're going on to Nate. What's your number 9?
Number 9, I'm gonna say, first off, I think the whole band is, but more importantly, Gene Simmons is completely underrated when it comes to his skill as a bass player. I think he is a phenomenal bass player. And so many people, musicians, give Kiss a hard time. Gene Simmons, some of the early work he did on those first 5-6 albums, these bass lines are incredible. And from someone who's been a musician for 35 years or whatever, and I've played drums, I've played bass, I've played guitar, I've sang backup, I've sang lead, these guys are way more talented than people give them credit for.
You sang backup, you sang lead, you played bass, and you played drums? Is that why
Yeah,
you
in different
never
bands.
went anywhere? Or I'm just fucking
Dude, you beat me with the drums thing.
completely joking.
How piano or keyboards?
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
No, fuck. What? Shit. You go, Rick. You can comment on what he was saying. I was just fucking with him. I was shitting on his band, and I shouldn't have done that. So,
No, is that my opportunity to plug my band? So
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. You listen to the first 3 Kiss records. Holy shit. And last time I checked, Paul McCartney's pretty badass bass player, correct? Well, who do you think Gene was like really trying to be in those early years?
Exactly.
So I'm telling you right now, it's kind of like the way, how can I say this? A song like Smells Like Teen Spirit would not exist without Dave Grohl's drumming. That's the way I see it. That drumming makes the song. And Gene's bass playing makes a lot of the songs on those first set of records. So couldn't agree with you more.
yeah, I don't play in a band or play an instrument. I may play some penis bass every now and then. But so I'm not going to comment. But I
He plays a
completely.
swinette.
I completely hear what you're saying, and I think the people saying that Kiss couldn't play, I mean, they sounded fucking great live to me, so that's all I know. All right, let's move on to Rick's number 9. What do you got?
Number 9. Okay. My number 9, I think about Kiss is that Bill Aucoin, Kiss's manager, pretty much was the only manager I can think of in the history of bands who was also had his own fans, was also a bit of a celebrity. Earlier, my wife was saying that, well, hey, what about Doc McGee? My wife doesn't talk like that, but she said, what about Doc McGee? I said, yeah, but he replaced Bill Aucoin as Kiss's manager. And no, I never saw an interview with John Bon Jovi and then they start talking about Doc, ever. But there's a lot of Kiss interviews and they bring in Bill Aucoin. He was... Yeah. In a lot of their interviews, he was just a very poignant person. And other than, I think, the Colonel for the Beatles, Bill Aucoin was like the most famous band manager just because of what the 70s and how popular Kiss became. And they would always talk about their manager all the time, to the point that when I got in my first band when I was in my teens, we would try to act cool around people saying, oh, yeah, well, our manager is coming to meet us. Yeah, our manager, like, because we were trying to mimic Kiss. I can't think of any of the bands on planet Earth where their manager was as important. And I'm going to throw this in just as a little thing because it's probably the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. I got to meet Bill Aucoin a year before he died, and he literally spent half an hour in a studio in Nashville with me. He hugged me at the end and he whispered in my ear, I wish I knew you were such a fan. I would have brought you some of the good shit from the old days. So that I get to take to my grave. So anyway, that's my number 9.
Yes.
I mean, Kiss isn't Kiss without Bill Aucoin. The fact that he stuck with them and financed all of that shit, they would have never happened. So I completely agree. They had to acknowledge that because they knew they were fucked without him.
Yep. And he saw that. He saw something in them.
Good for them for talking about him all the time. They owed everything to him. He sacrificed his whole livelihood for them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
He battled at Casablanca. He battled it to get them on there. So yeah, he's amazing.
Yes. Okay. All right. My number 9. I think that no matter how much I love it when my favorite bands release new records, and I'm gonna try to make sure that not all of my things are negative, but the first couple are. Monster was a massive fucking mistake. Monster was a shit show. There were a lot of good moments. I really liked Sonic Boom. If you would have told me that Sonic Boom was their last go around, I would have said, you know what? They went out with a
bang.
A really good fucking record. And Monster is just shit. There's a couple moments on it where I'm like, okay, I can kind of handle that. But it is the sound of a band that is completely out of gas, and I just thought it was a huge fucking disappointment.
Everything about that record just reminded me of like a Saturday morning cartoon. It just there was no balls on it. Something that was, I mean, it's called Monster, and I remember in the press they were really kind of pushing, saying, "Hey, this is the next generation Revenge." Oh, dude, bite your tongue. Sorry, Gene, extra long tongue. No, it is nowhere near Revenge. That's actually quite an insult. No, it didn't. I mean, I own it, but just because the Kiss logo's on there. But no, I've never, ever once thought I need to go and listen to a song off that record. Couldn't agree more.
Yep. Nate, do you have any thoughts to add?
Well, I was going to say, I always give Monster a hard time, and one of my 10 was going to be, and I took it off. It was going to be, it's a shame that that's the album that they ended on after such a fabulous career, really. Because I've never liked Monster. I've actually said it's the worst in their discography. I think Sonic Boom is a way better album. Monster sounds like Kiss trying to write a Kiss album.
Yeah.
And it's
I like that.
It just seems so phony to me.
And when they had fucking Tommy Thayer, writing the space shit like he was Ace Frehley, I'm like, please stop doing that. Please.
Tommy Thayer is a better spaceman than Ace Frehley. No.
And by the way, and I'll add this because this was almost one of them. Ace still fucking has to try to write songs like he's from space and stuff. And I'm like, anyway, like I get it, but there comes a point where it gets to be overdone. Anyway, Okay.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
who just went? Was that me? Was that me with
Yeah,
Rock?
man.
See, that's I always say
Did you?
that's when the
Yeah.
conversation is good when I forget where I'm at. So I just okay. We are on to Nate's number 8.
8.
Okay, so before we get there, only because we were talking about Tommy Thayer, have you seen that meme where it says "Be yourself every day, unless you're Tommy Thayer, then be Ace Frehley"?
I think
I think that's hilarious.
right.
Oh, guys, come on.
All right,
I'm a black and blue fan,
what are we
so it
on?
kind of hurts a
7.
bit.
Number 7 is going to be that I truly think that Music from the Elder is one of the greatest musical masterpieces of all time.
Here we
It
go.
is a fantastic album. And I would have loved to see that movie.
Right.
Oh, right.
It is not, contrary to popular opinion, the worst album in the Kisscography because Monster and Carnival of Souls are worse. But
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I hate to tell you,
Carnival of Dirt.
I think it's kind of shit. But what do you think, Rick?
Yeah, I am such
Oh,
a fan
boy.
of that album.
Okay.
The whole and I get it. It's weird, and I had the conversation when we did an interview with Todd Kearns, and we talked a little bit about it. And Todd Kearns actually went to Vegas, right? And they played the entire album in its full for a fundraiser, and there's been so many people. I mean, it's a cult classic, or what it's become, right?
Right.
I mean, I remember getting it as a kid, like at Kmart the day it came out, because, again, the logo on there, and I thought the cover was different. So, great song, The Oath, but everything in between for me just didn't.
Just garbage.
Yeah. And it had flutes, and that's where you lose me. So, yeah. But the one cool thing
Unless
about
you
it,
like
though,
skin flutes like the Guru.
Paul was
the one cool
trying
thing
that.
though is if you watch them on Fridays, if you go on YouTube and you watch when they played live on Fridays, I was awake for that as a kid to watch them do it, and it was amazing. They do The Oath and World Without Heroes live throughout this. It was like a Saturday Night Live spinoff, but it was on Friday night. So check it out. It's amazing.
Paul's falsetto kind of lost me a little bit, and World Without Heroes is a decent song, but Gene is the demon. He's not supposed to be crying and singing about, that's Paul's job or maybe Peter's job, but that it just kind of blew the mystique of the demon, that video, I thought.
Yeah, it threw me off too as a fan. It did. It was like, whoa, hey, that's not blood, that's a tear. Yeah,
he's supposed to be banging chicks and fucking spewing
Exactly.
all over the place.
Yeah, but you guys are probably the same age, right? Like
How old are you?
Guru and Rick, you're probably the same age, so you got the same perspective. I was a couple years younger.
March 69.
Oh, okay. Fuck, you don't look that old.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, man.
You were born in '69?
Nate, because you know that.
I didn't know that.
After all this time, dude, how do you think I went to the Kiss concert in 1979?
Yeah.
I was born in '75.
I know. You and my wife always talk about the same bands because you both grew up at the same time, loving hair metal at the same time. And you both have a 5-year gap between I was an Iron Maiden guy, you guys were Winger guys. So that's how it worked.
All right. Okay. All right. We are on to Rick's number 8. What do you got, Rick?
Okay, I'll make it fast. My number, I think, number 8, that Ace Frehley, and you can, guys who love Slash, again, he's later on, but I think Ace Frehley made Les Pauls famous.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Can't think of any other band where it was like the one guitar player was just always. Now, Paul, a dime a dozen. You name it, whatever show, whatever song, I'm going to switch. Gene's going to switch. Ace, always. And as a kid, because I'm trying to discover what bands were when I'm just a little kid, and I thought that was so cool that it was always this Les Paul. That's all he ever played. And I think he made them really popular. And then Slash in the late 80s continued that, but that's my number 8.
Very good. Very good. All right. My number 8. I think it's hard to overstate how massive the Kiss reunion in 1996 was. Now you got to remember, just a few years before that, on the Revenge album, they were like struggling to sell tickets. You know, there were shows that they were playing to like 1,500 people in
Yeah.
1992, 93. So even Kiss seemed to be falling victim to grunge. But then they reunite, they put the makeup back on, and sell out Tiger Stadium in, get this, 43 fucking minutes. They were on the cover of everything. Kiss Mania was back. I was in
Yep.
fucking heaven when Kiss reunited.
100%. Man, I love that because that leads into my next exact point.
Okay, go ahead.
That was probably one of the high points in my life. Like music is my life. When I say, you know, there's something when it some people listen to music and some people they feel it and they feel it from the soul. And I've always said that there's always a constant music happening in my head, and I think that's what drives people to be musicians. So my number 6, I think it is, right? My
Seven.
number 6.
7.
Or is it 7? 7. The 1996 reunion tour was, I would say, a highlight of my life. Probably one of the best concerts I've been to. I have only teared up twice when I saw a concert, and the first time I saw Kiss come down with all the 4 original members that everyone's been waiting for, everybody's been wishing for. When they hit the stage, I couldn't help. I was like sobbing in joy. And it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Nothing will ever top that for me.
I saw the reunion in 97 is when they came to Fargo. And
Yeah.
this is in my drinking days. And I got so fucking loaded because I was so fucking excited. And
Excited.
so I don't like I remember it but you know, the memory isn't as good as what it should have been. I was so jazzed that I was like, fuck it, let's party. So anyway, I'm with you. It was amazing. I just wish I hadn't gotten as drunk as I did get.
Yeah.
My
I've
God,
been to a
brother,
few
you're-
concerts like that where you really regret how much you partaked at a concert.
Yeah, basically that was my entire 90s experience.
Yeah.
I was just going to comment on what Guru just said, is the fact that that happened to me in Ottawa for Bark at the Moon tour with Rat opening, my only opportunity to ever see Rat in Canada. And I thought, oh, I was so excited, and I'm not with my parents. And my buddy George was like, here, have a drink, more, more. I spent that entire time in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I saw part of a Jakey Lee solo, if I can remember, but no, throwing up the whole night. So I missed that entire Aussie show and Rat because of what Guru just said. I went through the exact same stupid thing. So
Yep. All right, Rick, what's your number 7?
you got it. Okay, my number 7, in my opinion, and I think that Kiss, other than the Beatles, Kiss was the only band to have 4 distinct personalities. We might be able to go down a little bit down the path and say, well, hold on, when I bought, Look What the Cat Dragged In, my favorite member was Bobby. Yeah, I get it. But I'm saying throughout the entire 70s and the beginning of the 80s, other than the Beatles, no other group, no other band had fans for each additional member on their own. Like each guy in the band is a star in his own. I think Kiss rules when it comes to that.
And how many bands did everybody sing lead on? Not right away, because Ace didn't sing until a couple albums in, but eventually they were all and they all had success. Peter had
Yes.
Beth. Ace ended up with like Shock Me and the New York Groove.
Yep.
So how many bands
Yep.
did everybody sing successfully? 0?
Only the Beatles. Only the Beatles. That was the only band I can think of. And to be able to say that, and I'm at any moment with Gene and Paul listening, or even Ace and Peter, it's an homage. It's a compliment. That, man, guys, other than the Beatles, so we're sharing something with the Beatles. That would always make Gene and Paul, tickled pink. So yeah, man, I can't think of any other group, and that's why I think that even added to it. Like their music was incredible, but we became fans because, again, like I said earlier, Gene was my favorite. Always, up until I saw them live, and then it was Paul.
Right. Okay. All right. My number 7. And speaking of the reunion in 1996, I think I was convinced that the Psycho Circus album was going to save rock and roll when it came out in 1998, especially when I heard the title track. I was like, holy fuck. And we were still in the era where, oh, it wasn't cool to be a rock star. And we were starting to get into rap rock, but the grunge
Yeah.
was still big. Rap rock was coming on, but anything associated with the 80s was still shit on. And I was like, maybe Kiss is so massive, they might single-handedly turn this thing around.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was proven wrong, but for a brief moment, it felt like rock and roll was going to be saved by Kiss.
I agree. It might have been, but too bad that album was a big disappointment.
It's not as bad as it's not great.
Monster.
There are 4 or 5 songs that I legitimately like, but you're
Yes.
right. It just didn't turn. We thought we were gonna get like the
Well,
Destroyer Part 2, which is what they were going for,
trying to get, yeah.
but it wasn't that.
There's a particular track on that album. I'm trying to remember the title. It's one of Ace's songs. I think it's maybe the only one he sings.
Into the Void.
Into the Void. That, to me, that's a really good Kiss song. Like, it's a good Kiss song.
Yeah.
The funny thing I've realized when I actually listened to Psycho Circus, and I'm also trying to remember the name of the song. I'm getting daft right here. If you go to Paul's solo record, you'll hear that riff.
Oh,
Like exact. Now. No one realized that or recognized that. Paul actually wrote Psycho Circus on his solo record. You'll hear it when you later.
Yeah, and some of them were kind of cheesy, but I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll I liked. Psycho Circus I liked. I thought Raise Your Glasses was a song that could have been
Yep.
like in sports arenas,
Yep.
for sporting events. And
It just, to me, when you found out later on that Ace and Peter were
Right.
pretty much null and void to be around that, now I get it. Now I understand why it doesn't have that feeling. I mean, nothing's ever going to touch those first set of records because it's 4 hungry guys trying to write good songs. That's where the first 3 albums are just, it really is 4 brothers really trying to do their best. After Alive, that's when you start hearing all the stories about like, well, during Destroyer recordings, Ace wasn't around a lot, so we had to hire this guy. And then Peter wasn't able to do. See, after they got success, that's when all the stories started. But those first 3 records,
Yep.
yeah.
All right. We are moving on to Nate's number 6. What do you got, Nate?
Number 6, in my opinion, I think that Revenge was the last great Kiss album. I was so pumped when Revenge came out. I remember, and I think that's probably the best non-makeup Kiss album there is, even though Trevor Crash Course gives us a hard time for it. But I know, Guru, you love you love that album. It's a great album. And we love when the demon's a demon. They get to open the album with the demon. The first time in history, when I saw the video for Unholy, I was blown away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely.
There's Gene
And
Simmons.
what an introduction to Eric Singer. When you see Eric Singer jump up in the video on those drums, and he's the only blonde guy in Kiss, like, to me, it was like the best thing happening.
Bruce Kulick in a leather jacket. Come on, dude.
It was
Come on.
great.
It was
With a flying V.
It was the first time that Gene Simmons looked comfortable in the non-makeup years. And Unholy, Take It Off, I Just Wanna, Domino, and then I Like the Ballad, Every Time I Look at You.
Yeah,
There
I
were
love it.
5
Great.
songs that I thought were like up there with the best in Kiss history. And I did a ranking of all the Kiss albums with Metal Mike. And though it could change by the day, Revenge came in at number 1. I love that.
Came in at our number 1, man. We did a ranking of the non-makeup albums. It was our number 1.
I know I watched it. Obviously, you didn't watch mine, so fuck you.
Yeah, I did. I just thought you were copying.
You fell right into that trap, young man.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. That record was, I mean, everything. Like, dude, look at the artwork, and they were just badass. And even like, yeah, it was incredible. And the Guru just said something a few minutes ago, and it's like, holy shit, that is so fucking correct. I mean, that's correct. Dude, when you said this is the first time since the non-makeup days that I've seen Gene comfortable in his skin, thank you. It was always there trying to figure out that, but you just nailed it. You nailed it. That's really the first time he felt comfortable in his skin. They have fun. All the videos, like not unholy. I mean, they have to look, menacing and mean, but all the other videos, they are having a fucking blast. I got a buddy feeling singing and I've never done that. Anyway,
How
sorry.
did that song not blow up? What the fuck? I just wanna.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, but it's when it came out, brother. It's when it came out.
Obviously.
92,
Yep.
92 killed everybody.
and I've said this. You felt like, well, maybe Kiss can survive the grunge wave because a lot of those grunge bands loved 70s music, but
Yeah.
just kind of got thrown by the wayside, just like everybody else.
If we had not have, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this because, all right, MTV, you're going to take it away from me in 1995. If they didn't do that Unplugged with Peter and Ace, we wouldn't be having this conversation about the reunion show the year after. So y'all need to go back because I did it last weekend. Every year I got to watch it at least once.
Yeah.
That performance is so insanely amazing. And again, Nate, when you people want to talk about Gene's bass playing, there you go, baby. He's on an acoustic bass, just ripping it up the entire time. And when Ace and Peter comes out, they are just all having a blast. Even Bruce and Eric, just like. So yeah, man, that
Yeah,
concert.
because Bruce and Eric are like, I'm gonna lose my fucking job here pretty quick. This sucks. All right, Rick,
Bye-bye, paycheck.
Rick, we're on to your number 6.
Yeah, you got it, man. Okay, number 6, I think. I want to ask you two, do you remember the first time seeing the Tom Snyder Kiss interview?
Oh, yes.
You remember your very first time seeing it, and then what did it do? What did it do to you mentally?
Well, it's one of my number 10s. Maybe I'll change it now, but
Oh, dude, no.
no, it's all right. Fuck that up.
Okay.
No, I mean, number 1 was I felt bad for Gene because you could tell he was just like, fuck me, somebody shut him up. And because it kind of ruined the mystique, they went from being, Ace was just this fucking waste. And I'll let you, but yeah, that was my first thought was, oh, Gene is pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, damn, yeah. Nate, what about you?
Well, you ain't hiding it. I thought it was hilarious. I love Ace. But Gene was pissed, man. You could totally. It was the most uncomfortable feeling, and he's trying to make his way through it, and it was completely awkward.
Paul as well. Paul had a bit of a hard time too, because it was Ace and Peter that just took the show away, but mainly Ace.
Totally.
That whole point thing, because back then, it was taboo and everything else, and it was well known back then that Tom Snyder was gay. So when Peter says, when he says, I got a piece of pipe backstage I want you to work on, and that's when he's like, tell me about it. That's why they lost their shit. So a friend of my mom's explained, like, well, Tom Snyder's gay. You know that, Kathleen. So when she told me that, I was like, oh, dude, I get the reference now. So Ace kind of knew that little National Enquirer sort of story, but he went with it, man. Everything about that thing with Ace, because my favorite is when he's just going nuts and then immediately got serious. He's just like, so you want to go to the space shuttle? Are you referring to the space shuttle? Like he just instantly. Yeah. I can't get enough of that interview. Can't get enough.
Oh yeah.
But Nate, how did you see it? Because this was way before YouTube or anything. Like, how did you see that interview? Do you remember?
I don't know. I don't remember the first time I saw it. It was probably on. It would be on some sort of Kiss compilation, like VH1 used to do all these things and whatever those. But I don't know exactly where it was. I watched everything I could on Kiss, so
yeah.
All right,
awesome, man.
Okay, my number 6. I think it's unbelievable how disappointing Peter Criss has been out of Kiss. Okay, and I don't mean to shit on Peter, but his solo output is fucking balls. So he puts out Out of Control in 80, And
Yeah.
by Let Me Rock You, like his career is basically done by 82. We get Cat number 1 in 1994. How fucking long did it take you to come up with that title? Cat number and then One for All in 2007. Was this all this jazz snobby bullshit? It was
Yeah.
horrible. So I remember like reading this article about him touring with Ace in like 94, and they're on a shitty tour bus and the heat doesn't work, and they're like, fuck, we're gonna get this reunion going because there was talks about it, and they're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna get out of this bullshit. So I just like, okay, Peter, you get back in the band, you're making great fucking money. And then what does he do? Well, fuck, Ace is making, so then he bails again. I'm just like, sometimes I'm really convinced that Peter is like the biggest fucking idiot in rock and roll. Bless his heart. I was a huge fan, but I just, everything he does outside of the first initial run in Kiss has just been goddamn stupid.
Yeah. I have to agree with you just from the facts of what I saw with my own eyes. I was at that tour for Ace and Peter together. It was a catastrophe. And a couple of years before that, I saw Peter also at a club in Ottawa, whatever. And he was doing this whole thing where it's like he had these roadies like, no, anyone get near the stage. We're like, dude, it's a dinky little bar. It didn't make any sense at all. But he went to sing Beth, and he fell off the stage. So he kind of hurt himself pretty bad on the monitors, and they called the rest of the show off. The whole thing is that, like, that's my memory, right, of Peter. It's kind of like, oh, dude, ugh, it's cringe. And then the year after, like that same tour with Ace and Peter, I got to meet Ace backstage. Nate knows about this story. It literally is, never want to meet your heroes. So it was 6 seconds of just, oh my God. He's shaking my hand. He falls off the chair. That's how inebriated he was. So my memories of meeting Ace and Peter were not cool. So I agree with you. It's almost like the shit that when you watch the documentaries that Paul will say about Vinny, or the way they talk about Vinny. He kind of falls into that category where it's like he's just, dude, are you unlucky or are you just making these stupid choices? So, because at least Ace, the talent, and that's what breaks my heart. The fucking talent is there, dude.
Yeah.
His solo record, man, my God, my first band, when I was like playing in a club illegally, I was 17 and the drinking age was 19. I was in the band Circus. And I remember like we opened up our show with Rip It Out from his solo record.
Yeah.
We played Snowblind, a whole bunch of stuff. So these songs, man, people love great songs, and Ace is a wicked songwriter. Shock Me? I just finished telling you guys 10 minutes ago. Oh, Psycho Circus? Well, there's that one song I like. Oh, the Ace song, Into the Void. So Ace knows how to write a great song, but he's just so drunk all the time.
If you listen to Nothing to Lose, Peter has a great rock and roll voice. Like,
oh, dude,
just fucking screams, but he very rarely breaks that out. It's anyway. Okay.
Meantime from Hotter Than Hell was like my favorite song as a kid for like 2 years because of his voice. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
All right. We are moving on to Nate's number 5.
All right, my number 5 is if 1974 to 1977 did not exist, I don't think neither would Kiss's career. Like, they had a long career with the Kiss Army and everybody loving them, but you take away those years, 74, 75, 76, 77, what do they have? I don't think they would have been the band that is so adored.
I read somebody, I can't remember who it was, but he said, if Kiss had not put the makeup on and released those first couple albums, which I love the first couple albums, but he goes, I think they probably would have put out a couple albums that would have been kind of respected, and then they would have faded into obscurity. But the makeup and the show and all of the money that Bill Aucoin and Casablanca ended up putting into them created this thing. But I've wondered that same thing. I've wondered the same.
Yeah, I just think, look, if you take their career and you said, take all the makeup stuff away, start their career non-makeup at Lick It Up,
Yeah.
they're not going to be an A-list band. They had, one or two great songs per album. I get that. But the albums didn't have the magic that made them successful.
Right. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, brother. Yep.
All right, Rick, what's your number 5?
5. Number 5. I think that the Creatures stage was one of the coolest inventions of all time. And I don't know if either of you lads were old enough to have actually experienced it live, but let me tell you, dude, I used to draw all the time as a kid, and I'd try to impress my parents, my teachers, friends, and this and that. And then I saw that concert, Creatures of the Night, and the very next day, and remember, there's no internet, there's no fucking, I'll just go online, and, I'll Google the stage. No, it's called memory. So I actually started drawing this, Creatures of the Night, War Machine stage. It's just, I couldn't get enough. And then the fact that they included it on the Lick It Up tour that I got to go see in Montreal the year after. So I don't know about you guys, but in all the different stages and designs, obviously the gatefold for Alive 2 is just, like that stage is incredible because you're seeing it during Black Diamond. So you're seeing it at its pinnacle of perfection with all the pyro. But just as who the fuck thought of this idea? Someone needs a fucking pat on the back and a high five because I'm telling you, I was at that concert. And when it started, the lights that were in the treads and everything, we all thought the stage was going to crush everyone in the front row. It was that realistic. And then it took me about 4 songs to realize that's not Ace. The fuck is this guy with the fucking gold makeup and the flying V? Because there's no internet. There's no internet. You don't know if there's a change in players. So Vinny was so new that the whole audience at the Ottawa show was kind of like, Ace got really skinny, and plus he's not playing Les Pauls anymore. So it took about 3 or 4 songs for us to realize, oh boy, that's not Ace.
Yeah,
that would have been funny because they didn't really announce. Like, I think they must have just started playing shows. I don't remember, but how would they even announce if you didn't buy?
Well, because Ace is on the cover.
Ace is on the cover of Creature.
He's in the video for I Love It Loud. He's in the video for I Love It as well.
Yeah, so they tried to keep up the facade as long as they could before they let the cat out of the bag. That and I think and I hate to say this, but back to Peter, losing Peter wasn't that big of a fucking deal, But losing Ace was a lot of people's favorite member.
Yeah.
That was absolutely get over.
I was excited to see Eric because don't forget I'd said 2 years before on that show Fridays I got to see him play the Oath and everything, and I thought the Fox outfit and the makeup, I was so in love with Eric. It was just awesome. So that transition from Peter to Eric never bothered me, just like the Guru said. But yeah, the Ace thing, I was like, whoa. So I'm only getting half of Kiss tonight.
Yeah.
But again, the stage was so incredible. The show was amazing. I don't give a shit what they say about how bad that tour did as far as attendance. All I know is that it blew me away, and it's one of my top. I've seen Kiss 14 times. Paul Stanley once in a club with Eric Singer as his drummer, Ace twice, Vinny twice, and Peter twice. Yeah.
And even though that tour didn't do that great, and even though that album didn't blow up, I've said Creatures of the Night saved Kiss for the 80s.
Yeah.
Totally. Thank you. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
My number 5. I still think it's shocking. I mean, unfucking believable that Kiss were able to hide their identity for the entirety of the 70s and into the 80s until they released Lick It Up. I mean, the internet doesn't exist and we didn't always have phones with us, but they were massive superstars, and the media covered them constantly, and no one could unmask them. Now we come to find there were times where they had their picture maybe accidentally taken, but nobody could ever say, yes, here is Kiss unmasked. They were still not sure. So in '83, when MTV showed them without their makeup for the first time, 99.99% of America still had no fucking clue what they look like. That is shocking.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. That always just baffled me, even as a kid back then too. It was like, I'm sorry, there's photographers around here. That means there's photographers since the Beatlemania thing happened. Part of me, there's no proof, but part of me thinks that just the way they thought, the way Bill thought as well, it's kind of like if any photographers, they'd have Big John or one of those other guys that were their bodyguards, go over to the photographer saying, we're going to sue your ass or whatever, just to keep him threatening to sue them. It had to be something, because there's no possible way for that amount of years, even when he was dating Cher, when Gene was dating Cher and everything, and Diana Ross, like, still, I don't know how they pulled it off, honestly.
But there's two things also that I think about is one, the how fucking hard it would have been that every time you do an interview, you got to go put all that shit on. It's not like it's not like it's a quick process. But then on the other hand, when they weren't on tour, they were able to maintain some anonymity, so that was probably pretty good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of people, that's crazy when you think about it that way. Yeah. You got to give them respect, but then when they came on that show and they took the makeup off, did everyone else think they were just like the ugliest dudes? Everyone's like,
and you're like, oh, now I understand why they were wearing makeup.
Put the makeup back on.
It's like,
but Gene did not. Gene was like, you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, Gene's not a good looking guy.
Hell no.
We had Sideburns Larry with Paul at that moment, and then Gene with the wow, those are some big lips. Vinny was a woman, and Eric looked like just a fan kid to be happy to be there. Oh, look, I'm sitting with Kiss. It's like, dude, relax. You're a member. Act like one.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't have the impact I thought it would, because there was no background music, and it was just that one VJ. We're gonna take the makeup off right after this commercial. And then it comes back. There's no real kind of like fanfare leading up. It was very, I don't know if you agree with me. It was really, really like very private and quiet. Like as if like it's just me and the cameraman and you four guys. Now, let me see what you look like. That's what it's
unlike, and this isn't on my list, but I got to throw this out there. When they announced the reunion and they were on that aircraft carrier and all the press was there. And I'll never forget Conan O'Brien when he comes up there and he goes, when they asked me to introduce the Kiss reunion, I had two questions. What time and what aircraft carrier?
Okay,
Anyway. Okay. All right.
Love that, man. Love it.
Oh, awesome. We are on to our fourth one. And Nate, what's your number 4?
Well, I'm going to put my number 4. I'm going to say that I think Forever is the greatest ballad of the genre, of this genre of music. It's absolutely my favorite ballad. Bruce Kulick's guitar solo is completely magic.
Yep.
I just think it's one of the top wedding songs. This is like, first off, maybe Paul should have collaborated with Michael Bolton a little more. I love it.
Right. What a shock! What a shock for Kiss to go to number 8 with a ballad in fucking 1989, 1990.
Should have went number 1.
And I saw that tour, and that song played it. That tour did really well, the Hot in the Shade tour, and that song becoming a hit, I think, kind of saved that tour because Hot in the Shade, it's okay, but. It hasn't aged well, but having a massive hit fucking saved it. It went platinum, so yeah.
I was pissed because that was the tour. Kiss had scheduled a stop in our hometown, which is Saskatoon, which is where Shannon Tweed's from, which is why Gene always comes here. In fact, he goes bowling by himself quite regularly. So you could find Gene bowling like randomly over the Christmas holidays by himself at KG Bowl downtown Saskatoon because he's just looking for things to do. And so they've always tried to make a stop here, and that show was, the ticket sales were so low for the Hot in the Shade tour that they pulled the pin and canceled it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, brother, you don't want to hear what I have to tell you then. So what you're saying is that you didn't get to see that tour?
Nope.
Okay.
I've seen it. I've seen it on video.
Well, you're not going to like this. I saw it 4 times.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, I
A couple of
wish.
friends, my girlfriend at the time and her girlfriend and her friend, we all kind of made a decision. You know what? We got the summer. Fuck it. Let's follow Kiss around. So we started in Montreal and then to the Toronto show. But the Toronto show was so unique. Here's the couple of things. We also went to Syracuse, New York and saw them there with Little Caesar opening. And fuck, I love that band.
That would be cool.
And then, of course, Slaughter, which Slaughter was just, we saw them like multiple times that year because they were opening for everyone and Kiss. But the Toronto show was so unique because it was a Hot in the Shade tour, but it was happening in Toronto at the CNE, which holds about 60,000 people, this stadium. And check this out, boys. It was Faster Pussycat, Slaughter, Faster Pussycat, the Black Crowes, Kiss, and then Whitesnake.
Wow.
Halfway through Whitesnake's set, David Coverdale starts to badmouth Mr. Paul Stanley. Let me tell you something. Do you know what Toronto is, baby? It's the fucking Detroit of Canada. You do not ever fuck with Kiss in Toronto, ever. So everyone starts leaving the stadium. And Steve Vai was so fucking embarrassed, he walked off the stage, and you can hear David Coverdale, "Oh, come on now, people, come on, could you take a joke? I didn't mean it about Mr. Stanley, come on." Like, about 80% of the arena just left right on him, like, boo, boo.
Oh, shit.
So I'll never forget that. But the fact that seeing Kiss, not the headliner, was like, duh. They played in the daylight, dude. So it just, yeah, that was insane. But the thing about that tour is, and then the Toronto show, the Ottawa show, Montreal show, we got to see the full set. And you know this, Guru. That was a 2-hour and 10-minute Kiss concert with a lot of the old stuff that we hadn't heard in a long time. Because I was at the Asylum show, Lick It Up show. You don't hear any of that older stuff. That's what it was. The album wasn't that great, but the Hot in the Shade tour was all about playing the old shit, the new fans. That's what I thought.
Yep, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more here in a little bit. We're moving on to Rick's number 4. What do you got?
Yeah, my number 4. Nate, I'm so sorry, brother. Okay. Ace Frehley, when you listen to his guitar solo on Alive 2, that I'm just going to go ahead and say it, was released on October 1977, you'll hear something called Hammer-Ons, which a year later, when Van Halen came out, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, dude, you gotta hear this guy does these things called a hammer-on." Now, I love Eddie, always will. Respect. But let's face reality. These hammer-ons everyone's fucking talking about, my boy Ace was pulling them off a year ahead. So I don't know what, but that's I think. Number 4.
I just read a book by Greg Renoff, and you should read it. Now, what the fuck is it called? Van Halen Rising, and it is the deepest dive into the before Van Halen. It kind of goes through the first tour.
Okay, yeah.
And he talks about how it was kind of acknowledged that other people were tapping before Eddie, and that he didn't like invent it. You know, they'll say, well, he took it to a different level. But anyway, exactly. So I think you're exactly, and I think that book mentioned that Ace did do so, and there were a couple of other guitar players not nearly as well known who were playing around with it. So anyway.
Yeah, but the best was, Guru, did you see that video of Ace Frehley telling the world that he's like, I taught Eddie Van Halen how to tap, and it's like, and he's terrible, it's brutal.
What? No, that's
oh, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen, man. He's like sitting there in his studio now, because Ace sucks now, but he's sitting there and he's like, yeah, and he's like telling the world that he taught Eddie Van Halen how to tap, and then he just does the worst tapping I've ever seen. It's so funny.
Oh,
either one of you guys
is that on YouTube?
I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
Did either one of you guys listen to the new 10,000 volts?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Well,
it's a Trickster album.
I mean, I haven't listened to the whole album, but I listened to the singles. And I just
Cherry. What was it? Cherry? Is it Cherry?
Cherry Medicine.
Cherry Medicine.
Man,
that's it.
That album is great. Every song is great, but it's all Steve Brown.
Yeah, sure.
The whole album is
Steve Brown's awesome. I just didn't think Ace. You know, I didn't.
So
think
here,
great.
so So this might talking about medicine. I'm going to give you two some medicine to take later. If you would like to clean your palate as to us talking about new Ace shit, do me a favor. Take 4 minutes when this whole thing is over and type in Ace Frehley's Comet Insane. Now, granted, you're going to sit there and say, wait, this is the video for All Night from Kiss. But anyway, the song is so fucking awesome, and that's Ace Frehley at one of his best. So, Guru, I don't know if you think the same, but man, that song is awesome.
Okay. All right. Shit. Are we on my number 4? Did you just go, Rick?
Yeah.
Rick just went.
Go
right.
ahead.
All right. My number 4, and I think I briefly mentioned this before, but I have to include it. I think one of my favorite unbelievable Kiss memories of all time was in 2016 when I took my son, who was in 5th grade at the time, to the Shooting Star Casino in Menominee, Minnesota to see Gene Simmons' solo band play. And the Shooting Star probably holds about 1,000, maybe 1,500 people. And we're in the way back. But when he gets so Steele's on my shoulders at the end, and we're getting towards the end of the concert, and Gene he's like, well, first of all, Steele, this is his first concert, so he's like, do you think we'll get to meet him? He's got his Destroyer shirt on, and I'm like,
oh, come on, man.
I'm like, we're not going to be able to meet him, but I'm like, hey, it's not very often that Kiss plays or something Kiss related is in a place that's small, so we're pretty close. Yeah. So Gene is like, hey, the first 20 people to get up on stage, you get to sing Rock and Roll All Night with me. It's at the end. And I got Steele on my shoulder. 10.
No way.
So I'm like, fuck it. In order to get to the front, I need to leave the concert area and go out into the hallway because there's different sections of prices of tickets. So I run down the hallway with Steele on my shoulder. And whoever's doing security at the front is like, fuck it. He lets me go in. But I'm like, by the time we get there, there's going to be people up on stage. But I'm the only guy who's got a 10-year-old kid. Well, some guy yells, hey, Gene, look at that kid. And Gene's like, get that kid up here. So they pull him off my shoulders. Steele, my son, not only is he up on stage with Gene Simmons, he gets Gene's, and I got it on YouTube, and I'll maybe put a clip in it.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, please.
Gene's mic. Gene is like, puts his sunglasses on my son's singing Rock and Roll All Night. When Gene grabs his hand, puts his hand up, when Steele puts it down, he grabs it and puts it back up.
But they're singing with Gene Simmons. Okay. Get there.
He's just like, Steele is the star of the show. I'm recording it. I'm like, my son is on stage with Gene Simmons. It was so fucking amazing for a massive fan to see my kid up there singing Rock and Roll All Night with Gene Simmons. That's my number 4.
Man, as a parent, I can't even believe it. That would be the best moment ever.
And so I posted on YouTube, and it's probably got like 18, 20,000 views. But it gets all on the news because I titled it West Fargo 5th grader sings on stage with Gene Simmons. So it ends up on the news all over North Dakota. The local rock station has us come in so they can interview Steele and I about it. Was it was insane. It was insane.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
bro,
so cool.
That's incredible.
Yes. I don't know if the video will be demonetized if I share the audio, but I'll share some of the video of Steele up on stage with Gene fucking with him. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
It was.
And that at that age, because you're talking about that age, that when I saw my cousin Dave, like freaking out, like it just freaked me out. Yeah, that's incredible.
All right. We are moving on to our number 3s. Nate, what's your number 3?
All right, number 3. I don't think there's a band in history that could ever compete with Kiss when it comes to how they have marketed their brand. I can't even think of another band in history that's even close to everything that they have done. Their business, the amount of people who have material in their possession that, you know, and I would buy it all up. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for anything Kiss. I wish they had more, but I was going to hold up a pair of my Kiss underwear here. Like, they've got everything that you can possibly think of. And, you know, Gene, sometimes we get tired of hearing about Gene talking about making money and this and that. We talked about Hot in the Shade, Cadillac Dreams. There was a song that was like it's just annoying to me, talking about he needs money and more money and money. Like, the money bag symbol, okay, we get it. We've heard enough. It's overkill. But some of the stuff I absolutely love. They were a marketing genius.
I completely agree, and I have so much I have a Kiss toilet seat. It's not on my toilet, it's just hanging in my bathroom. I was buying everything Kiss related when I was like, I'll never use any of this, but I just had to have it. And I almost made this one of my 10. I told my family I want to be buried in a Kiss casket because I want my death to be a celebration, not a. And so if everybody's walking by and I'm in a Kiss casket, how could you not smile a little bit and say, that fucker, I can't believe he did it. So anyway, I'm right with you. I love it. And yeah, there was a time, back in the 80s, it wasn't cool to say you wanted to make money. It was considered selling out if you were going to use, you couldn't put your music in commercials because you had to be like, well, my music's too important to me and I'm not going to be a sellout. And Gene was always like, fuck it. I want all the money. Give me all the money.
And
it's a business. It's all a business.
Dude, but there has to be demand. So anyone kind of blaming Gene Simmons for, he's talking about money, making all this money. Okay, no. Back up a second. How the fuck is he making all this money? He's not putting a gun in anyone's head. You're the one buying it, dipshit. So that's what I'm just saying. Half the people are like, he talks about spending money. Yeah, well, that's just the way he is. Second thing, goes back to what you said earlier, is that amazing comment about the fact that with Revenge, that was the first time Gene seemed to be the Gene we love out of makeup. So Hot in the Shade, for that song that Danger just said, fell into that like Hollywood Gene. Let's just remember the Exposed video. Right. Just call me Mr. Hollywood. Yeah. What the fuck has that got to do with rock and roll? But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We are moving on to Rick's number 3. We're on 3.
Okay. Number 3. I think the distinct sound of Creatures of the Night is absolutely friggin' phenomenal. Only second afterwards with Lick It Up, but there's a tone, there's a feel, there's a sound and a vibe to Creatures that, as a Kiss fan, I don't hear on any other Kiss record. And it really, 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 like a lot like Nate's probably going to say this as well. For Music of the Elder, it's a really incredible headphones record. If you remember all of us being kids back in the day, if we didn't want to disturb our parents when they're watching TV or in the room, put the headphones on. That to me is, I think that the age that we're all at, that's that album means to me. It's got its own sound and its own flavor.
I'm right with you. I fucking love it.
Great album.
Yep. Completely.
Yeah. There's just this, it's all about Eric's drums. It really showcases and I Love It Loud. They were really
and Bryan Adams
bombastic, but it just there's something different. All of it, even I Still Love You. My God, all of those songs.
Yep. I did a video unboxing the Creatures of the Night box set, and I was like, "Fuck, it was a great box set." Damn.
Oh, dude, yeah. Well, everything about that album, everything about that record. I was so insulted in I forget what year it was, 80. Whatever, when they redid the cover and it was like, here's Bruce and Eric on the cover of Creatures.
Oh yeah.
I mean, well, yes, Eric is on the cover of Creatures, but with no makeup on. Like,
right.
What?
Yeah,
that pissed me off.
Yep. Okay, we are. Fuck. Are we on to Who's number 3?
It's your number 3, brother.
I'm number
Yeah.
3. Fuck. You'd think I'd know where I'm at. All right. I think 2 of the most maligned Kiss songs in history are 2 of my favorite songs of all time. And they are Burn Bitch Burn and All Night. I hear people shit on those songs all the time. Like I've heard people say that Burn Bitch Burn is like the worst song in the Kiss catalog. All Night was a single, but people just shit on it for how cheesy it is. I think that opening guitar riff of Burn
Yeah.
Bitch Burn and Gene's fucking vocals just screaming. I still regularly put that song on like workout playlists. I love Burn Bitch Burn, and I think All Night it's cheesy 80s, but it's one of the catchiest songs of all time. I still love those 2 songs. I'm just surprised that I hear a lot of people shit on them. They're 2 of my favorites. That's my number 3.
They're great songs, both of them. But you're talking to big Kiss fans.
Right.
And the thing is,
That's a good point.
when I look at it and I say, why do people give it a hard time? Usually it's for the lyrical content, right? So Burn Bitch Burn, obviously the Log in the Fireplace, I think gets a lot of flack from people.
Love that line.
Gene was writing lyrics like that on Rock and Roll Over, and then like Love Gun. Dude, Plaster Caster, give me a break. Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't know.
This
I never
is
listened
Gene.
to the lyrics. I got ADD.
Oh yeah.
At that point in their career, if you didn't expect something like that from Gene, then you're listening to the wrong fucking band. Like it's the yeah. In fact, because of those lyrics, here we are talking about it like decades and decades later. But I agree with Guru. It's got that. It really moves. That song fucking moves. You have to be very careful to listen to it in your car because you will get a speeding ticket. Up All Night, dude. I can't say enough about that song. Like I watch that video at least once a month. And that whole dun 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 dun. It's what Bruce is doing in it. I love even Bruce is having a great time. Like it's awesome.
I think Gene never had any singles. Somebody brought that. I think Nate brought that up earlier in the 80s, but I think he had a lot of underrated. I think Trial by Fire is one of my
Not for the
favorite
Innocent.
songs.
Not for the Innocent is my number 2 or 3 Kiss song of all time. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, exactly.
Gene all day long, baby. Gene, like Calling Dr. Love's my number 1, but like it's always Gene for me, always.
Okay, all right. We are fucking A. This is going to be a long video. That's all right. We are on to our number 2. Nate, what's your number 2?
Number 2, I'm going to say that, the makeup, I think that the makeup, although it was a blessing for Kiss, I think it was also just as much as a curse. And you can take a look, and if you did a pro and con list, it would probably be pretty even for different generations of music lovers. Right? I'm a sucker for makeup in metal. I love it. I love theatrics. I love the Alice Cooper. I love this. But Kiss had taken it to the extreme where it almost became childish. And then you talk about it, you see these where they were doing the Dynasty tour and you had all these people. I just saw an interview with Sebastian Bach where he says, you know what, but the kids in the front row was Dimebag Darrell and it was Dave the Snake and it was me and it was all these guys that grew up to be these bands that we absolutely loved.
Yeah.
But I think obviously, as I said, they've never been the critics' favorite, right? So they were super talented, and I think that some of the theatrics maybe hindered their credibility. Yeah.
Of course. It was like in the 70s when every major movie star had every music star had to have like a TV special. Like there was the John Denver TV special.
Yeah.
John Denver wrote a lot of serious, like kind of depressing song lyrics, but those TV specials made him look like a goofball, and in the end, it kind of ruined his reputation. Kiss started off as, being these dark, mysterious rock stars, but then eventually when they became big and then the makeup kind of became like, and they even said it in the home videos, kind of like Ringling Brothers, like they were a circus attraction. and they lost some of the mystique. So
Yes.
I see your point completely.
I wonder how the effect of when they were on the Paul Lynde Halloween special, because it's such a weird thing to look at it. Because what the Guru just said about the John Denver thing, and and I'm a kid of the '70s, so I remember all these specials they would have, hee haw, all that stuff. But I remember that was the difference, though, is that even with that Halloween special, he had other guests on, but when Kiss hit that stage, holy crap! And again, they were just on fire. And they were taken seriously, actually, I think, pretty much for that show, even though there was jokes about Paul Lynde saying, hey, I know how you guys got your name. You were all hanging out together and you got really mad. So your mothers came out, your moms came out and said, hey, you guys need to kiss and make up.
Right.
So I remember that show like big time.
Right. Okay. We are moving on to Rick's number 2. Rick, what do you got?
My number 2, I think that all the opening acts throughout the 70s and 80s of how Kiss helped these bands is just, again, you will never find any other group that can actually put that on their roster to say that, oh yeah, from Bon Jovi to AC/DC to Scorpions, you name it, we gave them a shot. Oh, what's that? Motley Crue fans? Yeah, we were the first ones to give them a shot. So again, no one's ever even come close. So I think there's so many bands that owe a big thanks to even Van Halen when it comes to what Gene did for them for their demos. But all the opening acts they had in the 70s and 80s, I'm blown away. That's my number.
They made so many bands over the years, or at least, like the amount of bands who were kind of nothing and then opened for Kiss and then somehow ended up blowing up after that is just shocking. So I'm right there with you.
Even Judas Priest, I think Judas Priest got to open for the, yeah, man. I'm just Iron Maiden. The list is just huge.
Even that, like shit in the 70s, Bob Seger opened up for Kiss. Like that seems like a weird pairing. But
yeah, exactly.
All right. My number 2. I think the downfall of Kiss in the 70s occurred with 2 different events, and they happened within 1 month of each other, and they just kind of ruined the mystique of the band, and they overwhelmed the public. And the first happened on September 18th, 1978, when the 4 Kiss solo albums came out. They came out and it was like, oh my God, this has never been done before. And then they all bombed. It was too much Kiss at one point. But a month later, on October 28th of 78, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park comes out. And
that's exactly what I thought you were going to say.
and it's, like now I can look back and go, it's such a cultural phenomenon, and I can look back and like it. But if you remember, and I love music documentaries, if you remember the Bee Gees talking about doing that Sgt. Pepper's movie with Peter Frampton, and it basically ruined both of them. Kiss coming out and doing this movie, it was a shit show of a movie.
Oh.
And you're like, it was advertised as Kiss or the Beatles Hard Day's Night.
Hard Day's Night meets Star Wars. Yeah.
And it just was not that. And so even though we can look back and be like, yeah, oh, I fucking love that movie. When it came out, it was not good. A lot of people were like, so you overblow them with 4 albums, which the Gene album, I think sucks. Peter's album sucks. Paul's is okay. Ace's is phenomenal. But then you have all this shitty Kiss product and then a shitty Kiss movie. And we all went from thinking Kiss was like this scary rock and roll band to now it was like, oh, what the fuck is going on with? I think that is the start of the downfall.
100%. I am
Nate,
100% on the same page. And it's nice. We say, you look at it now and you say, okay, well, we love Kiss Meets the Phantom and it's a cult classic, but we like it because it's so bad.
Because it's so bad.
That's right.
Yes. I mean,
so boys, remember the beginning of the beginning of this episode. I spoke of how I got into all of this. My cousin Dave. Remember my cousin Dave? Guess what made him say, fuck that, I'm not a fan anymore. When that movie came out, I remember him because I remember being at, again, another Christmas thing with my family. Oh, cousin Dave, there's a Kiss up. Oh, I don't fucking care about them anymore. What? Oh, that stupid movie. So it ruined it because he was a leather jacket wearing 14, 15-year-old in the late 70s.
Yep.
If that doesn't tell you right then and there what it did to actual Kiss fans, I don't know what will. Because all I know is that when I went to that Dynasty concert the year after, in August 11th of 1979, yes, it was unbelievably sold out. So much sold out that they were selling tickets for people just to come in and sit on the stairs, which I'm great as there was a fire hazard back then. But yeah, just absolutely fucking crazy.
I will say though about Kiss Meets a Phantom of the Park. One of my favorite Kiss memories is going to, because I watched that. I was 6 when that came out, and the next day I went to school, telling my I don't know, I think it was kindergarten, telling my kindergarten teacher that I loved Kiss and that they were superheroes, and I watched Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park, and my teacher telling me, you know, Kiss stands for Knights in Satan's Service, and she was so disappointed. I was like, holy shit! But it was.
Made you want to listen to it more, didn't it?
I was like, fucking A, that's right. I'm a rock and roll rebel.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
All right.
That's awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah. We are moving. We are on to our number ones. I'm dying to hear what you guys got. Nate, what's your number one?
Just, you know what? My number one is, I think that because half or the majority of my wardrobe is Kiss, that got me to meet additional rock stars. And I got to hang out with Sebastian Bach because I was wearing a Kiss shirt, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life because as you know, Sebastian's such a huge Kiss fan, and one of the first things he said when he saw me was like, I love your Kiss shirt. And I got to hang out with him all night with him and the band. It was unbelievable. There was no one else in a pub after a concert, just a random meeting. And that's super cool.
But after what concert? Like a Sebastian concert?
Yeah, Sebastian had played, and then it had closed down, and everyone was packing up and gone. Obviously, the venue is done. I went and I sat across the street in a pub. So the pub's dead. It's a Tuesday or a Wednesday night or something. And I was just waiting, and then all of a sudden the drummer walked in, and I'm like, holy shit. And he started talking to me about IPAs, and at the time I was really into craft brews. And so I introduced him to a couple, and we started sitting at the bar, and then Brent Woods walked in, and I'm like, oh my God. And then they invited me to sit at their table with them, and I'm thinking, geez, this is good. It's going good. And all of a sudden, Sebastian walked in, and as soon as he saw me sitting with his band and a Kiss shirt, and then we were just hanging out, and it was like, I've met Sebastian, and I would say, you know, he's quirky, he's interesting, but when you've got a commonality, and he just loves music. He's kind of childish, right?
Totally.
But he's such a fan of Kiss. And all of a sudden it was like we were best friends. It was just such a phenomenal night.
But for all the shit, and I've given Sebastian some shit on the channel, for all the shit I've given him, that guy is such a music fan. I bet if we met and hung out, we would probably just fucking be able to talk music for hours. He does a lot of strange shit, but I saw his dedication to the music. And
I told Nate this before, he knows this, and I'm going to tell the guru this and anyone listening, and you know, and anyone that knows Baz. So that Asylum show that I was at in Toronto, where I got to meet all the Kiss at the hotel later. But before we went to the hotel to meet them, we were waiting for my buddy George and his friend Yvonne were waiting for their friend Baz. So their buddy Baz shows up at the bar, and he's like, ah! So I'm telling you right now, then I got to hang out with them years and years later in '89 when they were on tour with Aerosmith, with Skid Row. Sebastian will always be that same guy. And I will always give him credit because I've never met a human being, maybe other than myself, that just sticks to your fucking guns who cares if no one likes you? Keep going with what you fucking believe in. And yes, he's a lot to take. Trust me, he's a lot to take. That hanging out with him at the Ritta Center, Ottawa, this big mall, was like, oh my God, dude, I gotta fucking walk past this to go to school tomorrow. Yeah, it was crazy. But he will always be the same guy. He really truly is who he is. And the Guru just said it right there. If the Guru met Baz in the next 15 minutes, yes. With 15 minutes after that, they'd be best friends talking for hours and hours and hours. He's that kind of, always has been, always will be.
Yeah. All right, Rick, we are on to your number one. What do you got?
Okay, my number one. I think that there's a missing Kiss album that we should have received around 1978. And here's what should have happened, because when you listen to side 4 of Alive 2, holy shitballs, that's 4 to 5 songs in a row that are just awesome. I mean, All American Man, that's a single. Rocket Ride, that's a single. Rocket in the USA, tell me that's not a Kiss song, a single. Now, if you took one song from each of the solo records, your favorite one, and then maybe just added a cover song, we would have had a fucking amazing Kiss record in 1978. That's my number one. What do y'all think?
Oh yeah, shit. Like, how do you just have these 4 fucking awesome songs just hanging around to go on a live record? But then you wonder, like, was there something going wrong? I mean, because Alive 2 is really quick after Alive 1. You got to wonder if there was some sort of issue. Maybe they were recording a different album and they're like, fucking something. You know, maybe Ace and Peter like, I want to do a solo album, and they're like, shit, let's just throw these songs on Alive 2, and then we get some new product, and that gives us some time to figure shit out. You know, I've always wondered that. But yes, you're right. Amazing songs.
All American Man is one of the best.
Totally.
Oh, good.
Totally.
Like that, Paul destroys on that song. Destroys. And Nate, you and I both know how much we love Rocket Ride. I mean, my God, dude. Yeah, it's everything about the cool thing. I'm kind of biased, right? Because I heard Alive 2 before I heard Alive.
Okay.
So I was a fan. My cousin gave me Alive 2. That was my first one as far as any live stuff. Then the year after that, I was given the first live record. And now we do know why that there was only 3 sides, because there wasn't enough material released in those 3 years, in those 3 other albums to suffice. You'd have to get Deuce on there again, and they'd have to play Strutter twice. So they gave us a side 4 with 5 brand new studio tracks. And again, like I said, if we took that side 4 and then we took the best of the solo albums, and them together, you'd have this incredible Kiss record from 1978.
And there would have been no songs from Peter on that album either. Anyway. All right. My number one. I think
Let's hear it.
I think I always suspected that music was kind of different for me. Like other people would talk about how they liked music, and I'm like, yeah, you say you like music, but I feel like it's like I think about it all the time. And it's like you were, and guys like us, music is different for, but I finally really realized it was true when I went to my first Kiss concert, which was May 27th, 1990 at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds with Slaughter and Faster Pussycat opening up. And it was like a religious experience. Like I almost wanted to cry a couple times. Like when the fucking Sphinx opened up and all these green lasers started shooting out, and the 4 guys were standing. Even just talking about it right now, I have goosebumps.
Yeah. The silhouette of the 4 of them. Dude.
Of the 4. And Forever was a massive hit at that time. And my grandfather died the day before, and my mom came in that morning and was like, hey, Grandpa died. And I'm like, well, she goes, no, you want to go to your concert. I want you to go to your concert. And it almost makes me emotional thinking about it right now. Cause I was like, I'm like, geez, my grandpa died. But then during Forever, I was just like, it was just so emotional. And I'm thinking about my grandpa, and I'm just thinking like, I feel like that was a turning point. And that's where I was like, okay, I realized that music really is who and what I am at that concert. It is so, other people liked that concert. That concert became a part of me, and ever since then, I've just whenever even before I ever did this channel, people would just always talk about, yeah, he's a music freak, and I'm like, yep, you know what, I am, and I found out May 27th, 1990 at my first Kiss concert.
Brother,
Yes.
my God. Hey Nate, can you picture all the big lighters during
Oh, yeah.
Forever?
It'd be like a
before
religious
phones, people.
experience.
This is
Oh.
before phones, so it was all lighters, and I can just imagine Guru turning around 360 in that room during that song with all the lighters. See again, man, those are the memories that just
And
insane.
Faster Pussycat was so that was my second big concert. My first one was REO Speedwagon, and yes, I do like REO Speedwagon.
Yep, so do
But-
I. Dude,
but
the songs. give me a
They
kick.
were really enjoyable, but Faster Pussycat, and we actually missed Slaughter because they only had like one fucking gate to let people in. So we're all like, they're trying to check tickets, and we're like, fucking A, we're missing Slaughter. So we missed Slaughter. We could hear it, but we couldn't see it. But Faster Pussycat was amazing, and Kiss was just on another. And Nate, I think you said, or whoever said it before, but that was where they played like 23 songs. And they used to only play like 14, and you didn't get much of the 70s stuff. Here you got the best of the entire catalog, and they had a big hit with Forever. It was,
Yeah.
anyway, I'll stop now, but it was fucking life
I
changing.
think, and if I'm not mistaken, they opened up with Deuce on that tour, right?
I think so. I'm pretty.
Yeah, that's like that, right? Meaning, like, hey guys, you're here for some good old shit. Like, that's the way you get things started. And I know people rag on it, but you can shove it up your, you know what? I think "Rise to It" is such an underrated song.
Hmm?
Watch the video or not, just the song itself. I mean, when we're around here doing housework or whatever, playing with the dog, we will throw that track on and crank it, and it rocks totally.
And there's some other, like, now this is off, but like I like Betrayed. There are some other good songs on.
Oh, yeah.
It was just 15 songs was probably too many. You could have narrowed it
Many.
down a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Way too many.
And Nate, did you think it was funny when it's like that the band Little Caesar opened for them on that tour when they had a song by her called Little Caesar?
Singing Little Caesar. Yeah.
right.
Oh, the irony.
Okay. Hey, that brings us to the end of 10 things we think about Kiss. We would love it if you went in the comments and let us know maybe some of your thoughts about some of the things we said, or maybe tell us some of the things that about your career or your history with Kiss, some things that were important to you. With that, it's time to say goodbye to our little round table. Nate Danger from the amazing YouTube channel Rockin' Danger. Your first time on, it was a blast. Thank you for coming on.
Man, thank you so much. Like I said, appreciate the opportunity and everything that you do. Keep it up.
And now you fuckers better invite me on once.
That's right, man.
Just kidding. Rick Thomas from Toronto. And man, you are a guy that lives rock and roll. It was a blast having you on. Thanks for coming on, man.
Brother, thank you so much. I had an absolute blast. This went exactly as I was hoping. And the fact that I get to do it with my fellow Canadian Nate on the other side is awesome. Just awesome. It's talking about Kiss will never get old for me. More, anytime.
Hell yeah. Hey, thanks for sticking around in the video. Like you said, we would love to see you in the comments. And like, subscribe. What the hell? Ring the bell. Hey, until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care of yourselves.